Oof. 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 Oof, 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 wah. Hello everybody, welcome to the Eternal Spoiler Breakdown. My name is Pojo, and we have 3 new cards to go over from the upcoming set of Homecoming, which we now know is coming out this week. Probably Thursday or Tuesday, we'll see exactly when that happens, but could be anywhere in the next 7 days, so no particular guarantees. But yeah, we do have an official launch date of this week sometime, and we have 3 new cards, all of which are pretty exciting and do some pretty wild things with gameplay. One of them is a Sincere Infinite Combo Enabler, another one is a Sincere Info Combo Enabler, and the third one is Pony Snatcher. This one is a 2/2 flying quick draw, which, when it hits the enemy player, steals a random card from their market and adds it to yours. If they have none, you gain 2 health instead. That's not a card advantage ability, but it is an ability that interferes with your opponent's markets and therefore with their ability to generate particular cards when they need them against you. In particular, while I don't think it is very strong market hate, I do think it is very good against decks that run market-based win conditions in their markets. So if you're looking for Grasping at Shadows, if you are someone who runs a lot of Smugglers and has just that one copy of Martyr's Chains in your deck, if you are the type of deck that actually uses your market to pull out win conditions, or to pull out things that basically are the only hope for your deck to survive against a particular matchup, Pony Snatcher can mess with that a little bit, and it makes it so that you have to have a little bit more of a balanced deck to get the things that you most want. Still, overall, looks like a fairly, I would say this card is really well balanced and really well designed on pretty much all levels. The art on it is really, really good. The stat line on it is perfect. A 2/2 flying quick draw looks kind of pushed, but in actuality, the quick draw and flying together do not make a huge difference on each other. I would say that while this card does trade really well with other flyers, it was already not going to be trading much to begin with, as it is a somewhat evasive unit that wants to basically either be killed or use its ability to steal cards from your opponent's market. The health gain is actually going to be pretty useful if you can actually get to it, but most of the time you're never going to get health off of it, so it doesn't really have lifesteal. It just has the ability to steal cards from markets, which, assumably, the stolen cards can be grabbed by any merchant. They will be cards that you can, if you take them out of your market, cast them without influence, because that is just standard for stolen options. We'll have to see for sure, but I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to do both of those things. The card does have a double influence cost, and double influence does make it a little bit harder to play, particularly in tricolor sets. If you're trying to play a big Winchest pile, this might not be your 2-drop of choice, especially when you have access to a lot of other lower hanging fruits. But it does have a lot of power to 2-color decks and to 1-color decks that are trying to do more aggressive things. So I think that a small flying quick draw unit is something that Shadow can definitely handle. It doesn't push power very much, but it also adds some interesting mechanics, and it gives you a lot of reasons to play it, which means that it can have an impact on the meta in terms of somehow affecting markets and affecting the flow of markets. I think that's really interesting. I think the card accomplishes the job that it wants to accomplish, and overall I think it's going to both see play and also not be too irritating of a grief mechanic, while also being a very interesting grief mechanic and a very interesting way to balance out the current sort of smuggler piles that we've been seeing lately, where there is often as many as 12 merchants in a deck. So yeah, really, really interesting card. Seems to do some really, really cool things. It's a good safety valve for merchants in particular, and we need a few of those, and the art on it is adorable. The whole style of it is really good. It's a throwback to the Eternal Thrones Horse Snatcher bat, and it's just really fantastic in just every way. I love this card. There's a lot of things to love about it, especially that pony, who is just so very unconcerned with what's going on. Okay, so the other 2 cards, this one was spoiled a little bit earlier, and maybe you've seen it already, is Dogo Malaga Alons. Dogo is a 3/5 for 4 with Pledge, so another one of the 3-color cycle, which, as we've talked about, are pretty strong just for their fixing ability. As long as these cards have reasonable stats, you should see reasons to play them in 3-color decks. They add good flow to your list. They basically give you a decent amount of fixing early on to help you out with these sort of difficult 3-color piles. And yeah, that means that you can play more crests and less of whatever else it is that you really don't want to play in terms of depleted power. And it gives you something cool to do at the top. Now, it has a third spell ability that gives all of your units flying, which means that Dogo, while not a well-statted unit on its own, does have a Flight Lieutenant style ability that can provide you with a win condition if you're playing a lot of big units like World Bear Behemoth and other large cards. Notably doesn't work with Sandstorm Titans, so there are some issues there, but as it's also occupying a slot that's somewhat designed for Sandstorm Titan, there's very likely to be a definite change in how you operate this deck. But in like a Heart of the Vault pile with a lot of like interesting big blue and yellow units, you can potentially get some good value out of that ability, provided you're willing to throw a bunch of spells all at once, which, yeah, that gives us the last part, the Amplify ability, which gives the top spell of your deck Destiny for every 2 you pay in addition to its cost. So obviously this makes it a pretty powerful top deck, although what it is doing at the top is not immediate impact for you. You'll pay 4 for it, or you'll pay 8 for it, you'll put the top 2 spells of your deck with Destiny, and then you'll have a blank 3/5, which may not help you in a bad situation. But if you are already doing pretty well, or if you're trying to set up particular combos, Dogo Malaga obviously does that particularly well, and the Destiny ability also helps out his other ability of playing 3 spells in a turn. This is card advantage, but it's a little harder to control. Playing cards like Torture Annihilate off the top of your deck are not necessarily going to have immediate impact if the board isn't particularly right for whatever it is that they want to do. If you get good card draw options and you have a bunch of those types of options, then Dogo is obviously going to be doing what you want pretty much every time. But if you have very specific things like Lightning Strike or other stuff that has to have particular conditions met, which is very common in spells, then the Destiny ability may not actually give you a lot of card advantage out of what it's doing. That being said, giving spells Destiny is very powerful. This is the first card that we have seen printed that actually gives another card Destiny, just straight up no frills. We've seen a lot of cards designed with Destiny and a lot of cards that specifically in some way get Destiny from other ways, like Revenge, or just like actually having those kinds of like creatable Destiny options. But this is a very, very small mechanic that is, this is a mechanic that is not used very much, and it's very, very hard to, it's very, very easy to break as far as what things are you are putting together. For example, the thing that definitely was immediately suggested to me on Reddit, and we will obviously build no questions asked guys, but also is Invoke the Waystones, which 6 cost with the ability to create and draw a copy of itself. So if you give it Destiny, it will play the top 4 cards of your deck, it will play the next top card of your deck, or discard the top 4 cards of your deck, play the top card of your deck, create a copy of itself with Destiny, and play itself again until you mill yourself and die. Yeah, like if you have some way to capitalize on that before the mill takes place, then that's obviously a really interesting infinite combo akin to Tildir combo. It operates a little bit faster, it does some pretty crazy stuff. Basically, in less free cards, it decks you faster, but also only gives you access to 1/5 of your deck at random to play with, so hope those Invoke swings are going to get you something very, very good. That's certainly one of the more interesting things you can do with Dogo, but basically giving Destiny to stuff means that you can do all sorts of crazy stuff with Excavate and any ability that brings spells back and puts it on top of your deck or puts it into your hand. Anytime that you can draw cards from the void, or you can in some way recur these spells, you get to do some pretty nasty stuff, and Dogo really enables a lot of that interesting combo potential. Pretty good design, like clearly this card is like a good evolution of Dogo as a character. It's got kind of a little Spinal Tap reference there, slash like it's sort of like a mix of Alonzi and L1s, which is 11, which is to say it goes to 11. But yeah, like there's some interesting things going on there, and yeah, fun Explorer Rockstar card that does some pretty Rockstar things. The combos on it are wild. I think I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm hoping that you guys are too, because how could you not be excited about this card? It's delightful. Everything about it is wild. Okay, so the other card that got released just today at the RNG Tournament Series was Severon the Mad Mage, which is another one in the cycle of 3-color pledges, and your relics cost 1 less to play and activate is its central ability. It also has Summon, Play a Random Ring, which are the 5 rings: Cobalt, Granite, Amber, and Emerald, and Amethyst? Yes, Cobalt, Granite, Amber, Emerald, and Amethyst. Got them all. So yeah, this obviously doesn't give you like an amazing relic, but it does give you a relic to trigger any sort of relic-based abilities. So if you're playing Rat Cage style decks, a unit that comes with a relic attached is just generally always awesome. And oftentimes those rings are going to give you some way to win the game. Cobalt Ring gives you a little bit of a stretch where you get to basically cycle through top decks a little bit faster. Granite Ring gives you Overwhelm on top of units. Amber Ring gives you an endless source of blockers and units. And Amethyst Ring gives you some mild inevitability in the form of lifesteal. Basically, all of them give you very, very expensive, but nonetheless useful ways to win the game if you want to, and makes it cheaper for those cards to be activated, which is pretty nice. That being said, Severon obviously has a couple of infinite combos attached to him because he doesn't have a safety valve at the top where it says that whatever costs 1 less is going to not cost 0. So you can, in fact, play Spitfire, and with 4 Severons out, just infinite combo burn everything out. You can get 7 Severons, a Severin. You can then play the 2-cost Frost Talisman and draw infinite cards, which is super exciting to have more infinite combos in this list. Yeah, both of those are really hard to do, but with cards like End of Hostilities and Mirror Image and the many, many different copy effects that we have, notably Quicksilver Mirror, which I assume is going to be a fairly relevant card in Severon's plotline, or at least that seems to be the lore discussion. Yeah, we have some pretty interesting options here. Like, it does look like Severon is a card that really, really wants to do some interesting, ridiculous shenanigans, and being able to just play certain relics at 7 or 6 or 5 is really crazy. Like, being able to do that in combination with Praxis Arcanum, the site that reduces the cost of relics, means that you can get access to some really powerful relics a lot earlier than you would normally be able to. So yeah, Severon enables some really crazy stuff. He adds a lot of power points to Aurelion, which is a faction trio that really needs those power points at the moment and probably could stand to have a little bit more representation in the meta. So I'm wild about what he's doing, and it seems like overall, like, these abilities look pretty good. None of the infinite combos look like they're too hard right now. This card is obviously a little bit dangerous, but at the moment it doesn't look like there's anything particularly wrong with it, and as a 4-cost, 4/5, 3-color card, this is something you're probably going to want to run in 3 colors. Like, it just does way too much and does it with a lot of flair and style. So yeah, it's pretty wild. These 3 cards all have me very excited about Homecoming, so I'm really looking forward to that. We will be doing a big stream on Thursday, which may or may not be the release. I don't really know for sure. If it's not, it'll be a Deck Doctor stream. We'll be running Diamond Drops. We'll be having that whole affair, so get excited for that. That'll be delightful. I am not going to be streaming too much this week because I have my birthday on Wednesday and something on Tuesday as well, but I'll be streaming on Monday and Friday and, of course, Thursday. So look forward to me then, 7 p.m. PST, and on Thursday we'll be streaming basically all day. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to like or subscribe if you like this and you are looking forward to more Brew stuff. I'm hoping to have something up this week, which should be very, very good. And beyond that, just thank you all. Like, this is a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to Homecoming. I hope you guys are too, and I will see you all next time. Cheers.